Just one day after laying her young son to rest, Shawnette Adams returned with relatives and friends and picket signs to outside the office of the police commissioner, pleading for justice for the police slaying of her 17-year-old son. The young man was shot dead last week in Agricola by a police squad who claimed that they were in the area after hearing of a crime being planned. The teenager was unarmed and was shot 3 times to his body, including a shot to his head. It was the eve of his 18th birthday. Today, his mother said she is still trying to hold up, but just cannot help coming out to protest as she awaits charges to be laid against the officers who were involved in the shooting death.
Being the commissioner, you don't need the DPP permission to charge them when murder is clear. If it was a civilian did that to a police officer coming from a village like Agricola, more innocent youth would be lost. And justice must be served, and justice will be served in this case.
The police officers fingered in the shooting refused to be a part of an identification parade. 3 other young men were there when the 17-year-old was gunned down by the police. One of those teenagers was also shot, but he survived. The other 2 were arrested and eventually released without being charged for any crime. With the police officers fingered in the killing refusing to be a part of an ID parade, the dead teenager's mother said she now wants to know who is really in charge of the police force.
Here you have the commissioner of police, who is in charge of this entire country. Each policeman must sign before they pick up a weapon, and they must sign before returning. Now, a target squad, a killing squad, you trying to tell us, just enter into Agricola with some foolish excuse.
Last week, when the police commissioner came out of his office to meet with the protesting relatives, he said it appears that a young man was in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's rubbish, relatives and friends believe. The young man's grandfather said he wants to know where would be the right place and the right time, if not in your own village, in your own backyard, in broad daylight.
I born and grew at 125 Caesar Street, Agricola, a barn, not a rent house. My great-grandparents, it come down to my grandmother, it come down to my father. You understand? Right now, if you go and check, there's my sister living there. So I want to know how come Shaquille Grant was at the wrong place at the wrong time. It's not an abandoned yard he was in, you know. It's a yard that people living in. Right? And how they go in this country, if they say they want to get justice? You must see going in Venezuela or Brazil for get justice.
The crime chief on Tuesday said the investigators were trying to ascertain which one of the shots the teen sustained was the fatal one. That excuse is not going down well with relatives who believe all 3 of the policemen who fired shots should be charged for the murder of the unarmed Agricola teen. The young man was shot to the left side of his chest, his buttocks, and the middle of his head. He was still alive after being shot to the chest. The eyewitnesses said it was then that one of the officers walked up and shot the young man straight to the head, leaving his body lifeless. Through their attorneys, they have identified the police officer, and that's the reason why they are not buying the explanations and excuse coming from the police force right now with regard to the probe. Meanwhile, a senior official of the Ghana Defense Force is not too impressed with the way the police has been handling the investigations into the Agricola incident as well as the probe into the shooting at Linden. The Army official said the police force is sounding and looking very weak from the very top and ought to come clean with what really took place and move ahead with the charges, since in their opinion, the force is well aware of who did the killing.